tell you, I'm like one of the biggest RuPaul Drag Race fans, and I'm bringing this up because
Uh-huh.
tear up every single time there is an episode where they talk about their drag houses or their drag mothers, and they say this is the family that I got to choose a family, and they chose
Yeah.
that. And it's just like I'm a crybaby anyway, but it's like
Oh,
to
yeah.
you ain't gotta be out here by yourself, and somebody accepts you wholly and completely, and everybody deserves to feel that at some time in their life.
Yeah, they do. When you mentioned houses, I was thinking I didn't necessarily have a house with a name and we didn't compete or anything like that, but there was when I was 23, there was this 18-year-old girl. She's a good friend of mine now. Her mom kicked her out and she had no place to go and asked to move in with us. Now she was a friend of my sister's. I didn't really know her much.
Mhm.
But I said yes. And then my sister, my trans sister, got kicked out when my parents found some wigs and stuff like that. They didn't know that Emery was like that at all. And so Emery moved in with me too. And so then came their friends. And
Y'all made a house.
right. So I'm 23 and I said, one day I'm going to build a house for all of you to be able to come. And I was only 23 then, and lo and behold, the youth
Did it.
emergency center.
You
I
did.
did.
So let me ask
So
you this. If you could go back in time and create a name for your house, what would you call it?
uh something real gay, like the House of Sprinkles or so. I don't know, girl. Something stupid. But we would have a good time. We would eat and drink and talk about things and take care of each other because that's what we did. A lot of us, that's how we survived in the 80s, 90s, and the 2000s. Is we would, because a lot of gay folks end up on the street
Yeah.
as kids, because if they're kicked out, they have nowhere to go. They get out on the street, they end up hooking, and then running into the law and all this other stuff. This is like a real reality today.
And being
You know,
victimized because they're out there and they're vulnerable.
yeah, exactly. And so the Youth Emergency Center is designed to help pull them out of that, give them the skills that they would have got had they remained in school or remained in the house that they were in,
Mhm.
and then get them out away from that type of life.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much how we survived. Pose was spot on with a lot of what they showed. You know. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Your sister is younger.
Yes, she's 4 years younger than me.
Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
how old was she when the shit hit the fan?
Oh, let's see, maybe I think 19. I think it was right around 18, 19. Yeah, because
Maybe.
her and the other ones is close in age. So yeah, it was pretty hard for her to now with her staying with me. Of course, she was always taken care of and stuff, but just the mental gymnastics of realizing that mom and daddy don't want you in the house no more.
Mhm.
It's pretty hard. Um, but she too came to MGLCC, the Gay and Lesbian Community Center, with me, and got a lot of the same tools that I got. And now she's living in Seattle, and she was a part of. She's on a board of a trans mental health organization up there. So we both went into service because we dotted the door of the Out Memphis group.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, she's doing well.
So you're married.
I am, yes.
How long you been married?
8 years.
Okay. And
Hmm.
how you know she was the one?
well, let's see. I'll try to get the PC version of this, but um, no, no. She, we had a few wonderful dates and stuff like that, and it was Christmas of 2011. I had been talking to her about all sorts of things, getting to know you and what have you, and I have like some talents and hobbies and stuff like that and things that are important to me. She bought me a small gift for every single thing I told her I was interested in. And I could not believe that. Like I told her that I used to play piano. She bought me a chord book. I like to draw and do charcoal. She bought me a set. She just like completely, and it wasn't necessarily the gifts, it was the fact that she listened to everything that I said and wanted to foster that and care for that. And I never had anything like that before. And here we are. Well, 11 years together, 8 years married.
So who proposed?
I did.
How'd you do
Yeah, girl. Okay, so
I love
so
proposal stories.
and I was kind of goofy, but so I went to pick up the ring, and I had this big thing planned out, but she's a quiet person. She had told me that she wanted to, if I ever did do that, that she didn't want it in front of a big crowd or anything like that, right? So I was like, okay, so nix the dancing number, can't do that.
No flash
So
dance.
right. So we went to our favorite spot on the river, the boat dock, where you can walk up to the water if you want to. And it was raining, and there was this guy and his girlfriend or something, and he tripped on something, and everybody started laughing that was down there. But she missed it, and I said, "Okay, I'm a show you what happened, but you got to come out here with me, right?" And she said, "Okay." And when she got out there, I kind of acted like I was gonna do it, but then I got on my knee. It was funny. I knelt on a rock and I was like, please say something because it hurt. Rock and she accepted, and the rest is history.
So you guys have been married, you said 8 years?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay.
So
So,
we had to get married twice because we had the ceremony a year before it was legalized. So
oh,
technically I have two anniversaries, and a lot of us have an anniversary in 2015 because that's when it was legal across the whole country.
mhm.
Hmm.
That's a whole nother hurdle to have to deal with. You this flip flopping of if they're going to continue to allow things to be legal, or they say, well,
Yeah.
not, and what does that mean if a state rescinds the legality of two people who are same sex getting married? Like, what does that make your marriage null and void? Like, what happens with that?
Well, that's what they're trying to do, but because it is federal law, it doesn't necessarily matter what the state does. But it is irritating and insulting, that my marriage would be any less valued or legal than yours. You know what I mean? But what we would have to do essentially is go back to what we were doing before it was legal, which was having a stack of papers this big to prove what your relationship was. We had to prove that we had all the same bills, that we cohabitated, have a domestic partnership agreement. We had to, let's see, we had power of attorneys, because, without being married, my wife couldn't visit me in the hospital. She wouldn't be family, even though she's my family.
Yeah.
So we had to, have things in place, legal documents in place, living will, everything, just to prove what one marriage license would give us. And to have to go back to that, it's like telling y'all that we got to go back to Jim Crow now.
Right.
Hell no. So that's how we feel about it, as far as the pre-marriage. So
Yeah.
you get it.
Yeah. So, your family, you said, is now more accepting of you and your sister.
Right.
At what point did that happen? What do you think turned the corner for them, or helped them to turn the corner?
Well, for my case, it was watching the trajectory with me and my wife, because I've been in relationships before. Some were toxic, some were just not for me. And my life was on a downward spiral. But as soon as I got with her, everything shut up. And my father told me, well, something's got to be working for you. I don't really understand all this, but you doing it. So
Mhm.
hey. And then they started to treat her not only with respect, but try to involve her. Like my grandmama said, where is Tess? That's my wife's name. Where is Tess? I said, well, she's at home. Well, tell her to come on. I'm treating y'all to food. And I'm like, what? You taking her out and they're asking about her, and she's somebody that my mom respects. They have a lot in common, and it's just like, wow. I've been in shock a lot of times just watching, because she loves me, and now they love her, so it just kind of worked out that way.
What about your sister? I feel like sometimes for families, it's hard enough that they accept that they have a child who is gay,
Hmm.
but a child who says that their gender is incorrect. Like some families just they cannot get that. How did your family get to that point for your sister?
Well, actually, it's actually kind of recent that they have accepted my sister
Wow.
for that very reason, you know. And I tried to help my mom by giving her an analogy that my sister gave me.
Mhm.
She said, think about it this way. Let's say you were sleeping, you were dreaming, and in the dream, you were somebody else completely. I don't know, like a cab driver named Joe or something. That's who you are in the dream. You got a wife and kids, you have a whole life and all this other stuff in the dream. Now imagine you can never wake up ever, and you are Joe forever. They
Mhm.
call you Joe, you look like Joe whenever you look in the mirror. How hard would you fight to try to get back to being yourself
Mhm.
if that was what you were like, if that was your
Your
fate,
reality. Yeah.
right? And so I was thinking, like, man, I would want to be Erin again. I would want to, dress like Erin. I would want to be like Erin, go with Erin's friends. I would want to be me. I would want to look like me again. I would not want to look like this dream dude that everybody else sees. And
Right.
Erin said, now you understand. I was like, wow. So if I think that if more people understood that about trans folks, that all they are doing is trying to bring the selves that they know themselves to be out, and to be the selves that you know that they really are,
Mhm.
then the pronoun thing wouldn't be a big issue,
Mhm.
because I'd be calling you Dr. Futrell she, even though on the outside you may look like Joe. I know that you're Dr. Futrell on the inside, and you're trying to do everything that you can to be her. You know what I mean? So just respect the struggle of trying to bring Dr. Futrell out.
Mhm.
That's what it is. And I hope that helps.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
I'm happy for you guys that you feel like your family is reconnected in a better way because you and your sister get to be who you are and still feel like I have my family. It's not we don't have
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's definitely uncommon, especially in the Black LGBTQ plus community, to have your family be behind you and with you and stuff like that. Like, I was recently in the Memphis Business Journal in an article for Pride, and my father went to the Business Journal to get a physical copy just so he could have a copy of his daughter in the paper. And I was like, Dad, I'm talking about gay stuff. He's like, I don't
Gay
care, my
stuff.
baby in the paper.
Not gay stuff.
I know, right? So I got to, because I got to bring it down.
Yeah.
And but just the difference between my father of yesterday and my father today is just amazing to see that growth and that evolution. So it can happen. It just takes time, a lot of care, patience, and a lot of uncomfortable conversations, but you can get there.
You've mentioned mental gymnastics. Can you tell me a little bit about how mental health and mental health resources has played a part in your personal life and professionally?
Hmm. Well, in my personal life, I was always the type of person to think that um, mental health therapy and things of that nature was just when you was about to crack. You better go get some help and get it right now. That type of situation. It was like a break in case of emergency, break the glass thing. But now that I'm older, I have several mental health resources. I have a therapist that prescribes, one that does not. I have group therapy that I'm in, as well as just I'm around a lot of therapists now, and I realize that it's more so life maintenance,
Yes.
than it is, yeah, emergency help. So my view of it has evolved over time.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's interesting, like have people. I'm always asking people when they find me, how you find me? Just,
Uh-huh.
just in general, because I'm out in so many different ways, with Psychology Today and TikTok and all that, and my website. And I'm like, well, what brought you here? And it's
Hmm.
interesting. Sometimes I do work with another company, and they send clients or will recommend, and I don't know if they can see my picture. So sometimes that's a thing. Like if I get someone
Hmm.
who's not a person of color, and I'm like, you saw me with the locks and stuff, right? But then sometimes, like I've got a couple of individuals, and I got this one email from somebody, and they were like, I want to set up an appointment. Now we never met.
Uh-huh.
I want to set up an appointment, but if you gonna be on that conversion shit, I don't want to even bother. And I'm just like,
I don't blame them. I don't blame them.
but I didn't take offense because
Uh-huh.
as a therapist and as a person, I already know, I understand you already had these experiences, so ain't no need of me getting upset and you trying to make sure that we don't even start there. And I got
Yeah.
you, but I thought that was so funny. Like my first email from them, and I was like, okay, this ain't that, but
Yeah. Yeah.
Memphis,
I understand. That happened to my sister. My parents put her into therapy, and it was a gospel therapist that was a conversion therapist, and it was just a bait and switch. They had built a relationship and been going. Emery had been going there a few times and stuff, and thought that she was really making progress. And lo and behold, here come the flip. So yeah, and conversion therapy used to be stuff like electroshock. There, they were medieval back in the day.
isolation, that was like straight up torture what they were doing to people.
Trying to force people to. I try to equate it to, because that's it feels closest to this. Trying to make somebody left-handed right-handed.
Hmm.
It ain't gonna happen. I mean, you can learn to write with your right hand, but it'll never be your natural way of being.
Right.
That's kind of how it is. So, we may learn how to, I can learn how to wear a dress and wear some 6-inch heels or something like that, but I'm still gonna be gay as a pink flamingo on the inside.
It's the
You know what
intonation for me. Yay.
I'm saying? I want to make sure you got it. So this conversion therapy stuff is funny because, well, it's not funny, but so many of the folks that were either the proponents of conversion therapy or the recipients of conversion therapy all said it was just a lie. It don't work because it ain't supposed to work. We are supposed to be who we are, and that's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't blame whoever that is who made sure that you knew I ain't the one for that conversion therapy, man.
I let them know that this ain't that in this session, but also
Uh-huh.
you talking crazy to me now. Start over. But I'm just kind of that way with my folks. Like this is not the television therapy. Like, yeah, I got a couch and all that, but it's
Hmm.
real genuine space. Um,
Right.
and as I was talking to you, that just made me think about, I've been watching. You don't know. I love stuff like about serial killers, anything that deals with a person's
Hmm.
behavior and motivation and how things shift. That's how I see
Hmm.
people who are deviant in their behavior, or they have criminal issues or obsessions. And so I was watching, Netflix has a series called I Am a Stalker.
Hmm.
And the eighth or ninth episode, I think, is a Black female, which stalking by women is very rare.
Hmm.
And she's on there, and she was a gay female. And what got me was she was trying to do better, but she would do well when she was connected with this faith-based organization, but it was
Mm-hmm.
not an affirming faith-based organization.
Yeah.
When you listen to this woman talk, it's obvious that she has some neurodivergent issues.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I'm a therapist watching this, and I'm thinking, God, everybody's making this about her stalking other women because she's gay. It has nothing
Mm-hmm.
to do with her sexuality. She's neurodivergent and she has obsessive issues. And
Right.
yes, she'll do well with the church because she gets tunnel vision. They keep her
Mm-hmm.
away from women that, whatever her triggers are. But as soon as she goes to work, and she did, she got out
Mm-hmm.
and she got a job. And it's just as we both sitting here black,
Mm.
found another woman, and the episode ended because she got in a relationship. Now I don't know if that turned bad, probably did, but you
Yeah.
could hear even the announcer, the not the announcer, but the person doing the interview asked her, "Do you realize that your issue doesn't have anything to do with women? It's
Mm-hmm.
what's going on with you." And she just couldn't, because the church that she was dealing with had drilled into her, because
Yeah.
you are a lesbian, this is a problem. You don't have to be a lesbian. And I just was sitting there like, oh, this poor woman, if somebody could help her a different way, she probably could stop this obsessive behavior that she has. But
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know. And sometimes for the kids, what
Mm-hmm.
is helpful is getting them to understand the whole of who they are.
Yeah.
It becomes tunnel vision on, we got to focus everything about your gender or your sexuality. That is what's causing this anxiety and this depression. Like, who are you outside of that? Because you
Yeah.
way bigger than your gender and your sexuality.
Absolutely. Just like you different than your color. You have so many different facets to
Yes.
you. And the thing about it is that because society puts so much weight on it, as well as there not being a whole bunch of information available to affirm those parts,
Mm-hmm.
then they're kind of wounds. And as you probably know more than most, a lot of people operate from their wounds.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So heal the wound and operate from a healthier place. And so it just becomes integrated into the whole of who you are instead of being your singular focus in life. And I do realize the irony of me saying this, being the board chair of gay organization. I do have a life outside of it and everything.
Yeah, like it's something bigger than you being the chairman of the gay board.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
that's that's about the top of the gay pyramid. I don't know if you can get higher than that.
and kudos to you for that, though, because you
Thank
young,
you.
right, to be doing this.
Yeah, yeah. I'm in my early 40s, so I don't know what I'm gonna end up doing after this, but I hope it's good. I hope it's helpful not just to the LGBTQ plus community, but the whole city, the state, whatever. You
Yeah,
know, it's funny because I literally just landed in this. It's not something that I thought out,
yeah.
but I've always wanted to help. And well, just to tell you a little bit about how I got here, a
Mhm.
lot of the Fortune 500s have these things called employee resource groups, like Target, Walmart, and my finance firm had one. And so, in order to get to this certain pot of money that they give out to nonprofits, a lot of times you have to be on the board. This is a St. Jude, Susan G. Komen, stuff like that, right? So they said, if you want Out Memphis to get to this pot of money, you need to be on the board. So I just went to Out Memphis and said, hey, can I be on the board? And they thought about it and everything and vetted me and let me on. Well, so then I started to learn about board service and nonprofits in general because I'm corporate all the way. I ain't never did anything with a 501c3 before.
Mhm.
And so I was just kind of hustling and trying to get things done and trying to get as much money as possible for the organization. They said I had good energy and they liked what my vision was. And the chair that was stepping down nominated me as her successor, and everybody unanimously agreed. Lo and behold, I'm at the top out of nowhere, and I'm like, what? I was just trying to get you a check. What? And so,
That's what it
and
took
then,
though. That initiative
yeah,
that you showed, it was like, okay, yeah, this is who needs to be here.
yeah, yeah. So I had a little bit of imposter syndrome for the first couple of months, and then I ran a couple of meetings and thought, yeah, I do belong here. I'm
Okay,
happy that I'm here. So just open to serve and everything. But that imposter syndrome just went away.
yeah,
So
good,
yeah,
good, because it can be a hindrance.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. And sometimes you just got to do it scared, but don't shy away from it. If life is uh you know destiny is calling you to do something, just go for it. I mean, all the tools that you need will come find you,
Mhm.
and I'm finding that to be true. So yeah, I am.
Okay. So before we go, I'm going to plug some of these resources that you have told me about. I'm going to put them in the comments so that people can see them. Hopefully, I can get the links so people can just click on the links. But what are some top resources for the LGBTQ community that people should be aware of that they're not aware of?
Okay. Well, one thing is Out Memphis, of course, has mental health resources, group and individual therapy. Let's see, they do referrals as well. Friends for Life has free mental health care resources for people who are at risk of HIV, which definitely includes the whole gay community and women, all sorts of stuff. So you would get to them. I put Friends for Life Memphis there. The phone number to call if you're interested in that is 901-333-8230.
Okay.
So that's one thing. And then, of course, the chamber is trying to get more mental health practitioners and just health practitioners in general to be a part of the Chamber of Commerce so we can kind of put them together with our resources and let folks know, hey, do you need an LGBTQ friendly doctor? Here's one. Do you need a therapist? Here's one, and stuff like that. So if you know any folks that would like to be a part of the chamber or affiliated with that so that they could reach this group of people, let me know.
Okay.
So, but I definitely put all websites up in the chat and everything, and just please share because there's stuff out here for the LGBTQ plus community and others as well who want to learn.
I'm gonna end, but this thought just came to me. Like you talked about how the agency is tri-state. They work, in the tri-state area.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked in rural communities in Tennessee and Arkansas, and it's like, man, how do we connect these people with resources when they 30, 40, 50 plus miles away from
Mm-hmm.
anything, let alone the types of services that, at least in Memphis, with it being a small city, still an urban city, we have way more resources than these people do in these rural communities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely something that is on my radar. And as chair, I do want to help branch out to the counties like Tipton, like, Mary Madison, all of those folks. Because, when I went away to school, I went to UT Martin as my undergrad, and I lived in a rural area for 4 years and realized that, yeah, they don't really have those resources and they're needed, you know. So the chamber is doing what it can to branch out. Of course, we also cover the same area and everything. So to those who are out there who may be listening that are in the rural areas in the tri-state area, we coming and we working on it. And no, we have not forgot about you. We definitely want to help.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for sharing
Thank you. I
stuff
appreciate
and
you asking me to
everything.
come.
Yes, I'm excited. Uh, I think a lot of people are just gonna, I can just imagine the feeling of relief that some people are gonna get from watching this because they don't know. I don't know. I didn't know a lot about all of these resources. So And I think I be knowing a lot of stuff. So I can imagine people who don't know, like it's gonna be a breath of fresh air to put these types of resources out there. So again, thank
Yeah.
you so much.